President Obama pushes for higher paying jobs. Fast food workers across the country stage a wildcat strike for higher pay. Workers at McDonald's, Wendy's, Domino's Pizza, and more will walk off the job today. The wildcat strike was organized by Fast Food Forward, a national movement launched to tackle the increasing number of low-wage jobs in this country. Employees in New York, Chicago, St. Louis, Detroit, Milwaukee, Kansas City, and Flint, Michigan all will take part. And here's what they're asking for: the right to unionize and an increase in wages from $7.50 an hour to $15 an hour. Further translation, from about $15,000 a year to $30,000. So let's talk in depth about this, because as you know, the wage gap in this country is growing, and so is the poverty rate. Thomas McGinnis is a fast food worker who will strike today, and Christine Romans is our business guru. Welcome to you both.
Hi there, Carol.
Thank you.
Hi. Thomas, I want to start with you. You've worked at Domino's for 24 years. How much do you make?
I make $7.35 an hour.
And you've
Plus,
worked there for
plus
24
tips.
years?
Yes, I have, yes.
Plus tips. So how have you managed to live on that?
Well, actually, in the last 3 or 4 years, I had to get a day job. And I also cut my Domino's hours down because it was killing my car. That's a thing that often happens to drivers.
So you know what most people would ask you. It's like, why don't you just get another job?
Yeah, and actually, I was at that point, but the organizers came along right at the right time, and apparently that $7.35 is not enough to survive on. I think anybody that works full time should be able to make a living wage, and that's just not possible now. It's poverty wages.
So some of these restaurants, these fast food restaurants, say these kinds of jobs really aren't meant to be full-time jobs. They're meant to be part-time or temporary jobs. What would you say to them, Thomas?
Well, that's a common opinion, but a lot of people make their living off that, and I don't think it's unreasonable to expect someone who works 40-plus hours a week, especially in probably the hottest and least comfortable conditions, to make a decent living. I think they probably work harder than a lot of the people in corporate offices.
Christina, tell us why we should all pay attention to this wildcat strike.
Well, because, Carol, you've got a third of Americans now who earn less than $24,000 a year. That's a big number. That number is growing. The kinds of jobs this economy is creating are low-wage jobs. And when you look at these retail and these fast food jobs, look at fast food wages, $18,400 a year on average. That's if you're working full-time. But most people, just like your guests, they are working 1 or 2 jobs. These are part-time jobs. They're not really full-time jobs in a lot of cases, so people are juggling between 1 or 2 different jobs. The disconnect here is, Carol, there's a lot of demand for high-skilled, highly educated jobs in engineering and science and sales and information technology, in healthcare. And then there's this huge and growing sea of low-wage jobs, also in healthcare, but in fast food and retail, that are just not paying well. They really aren't paying well. When you tell companies, we want you to raise your wages, they say, we can't double wages right now, especially small independent owners of some of these franchises. They say, if I can't double my wages. If I doubled my wages, I'd have to lay people off, or I'd have to raise my prices. The economy is still too fragile for that. So it's a big debate, but it matters because we are creating so many jobs like that. Later today, you're going to hear the president speaking at his Amazon warehouse, and those jobs are going to pay better. They're going to pay 30% better. There are going to be some benefits than these jobs, but
before we talk about that, because we're going to talk to an executive from Amazon next,
Sure.
And I just wanted to go back to what fast food restaurants pay employees, and it says, if we double their wages, it will hurt our bottom line. Well, McDonald's made $5.5 billion in profits alone last year.
Those are the shareholders, that's right. And what you'll hear from these companies that have franchisees, the independent stores are owned by the franchise owners. They'll say, we are a big company with a lot of small business owners. But you're right, shareholders. So, Carol, the winners are shareholders for sure. Workers say they are not the winners. And small business owners and franchise owners, they say, we're not the winner either because we have higher costs. We're going to be having to have new health care laws coming in. Everyone says they're a loser, but the shareholders, basically.
So, Thomas, when you hear stuff like that, what do you hope will happen today when workers go on strike?
Well, I think the lower you go down the ladder, the more you're victimized. And franchisees feel like they're not getting their fair share. Maybe it should be cut off the top if there's these record profits. How can somebody be comfortable living the kind of life that's not available to any of their employees, and making it, kind of sucking the life out of the community. These communities are doing horrible. There's a lot of people working, low-wage worker jobs that are also on food stamps. There's a lot of finger pointing that goes with that too.
Absolutely. Thomas McGinnis,
Yeah.
Christine Romans, many thanks for your insight this morning. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.